Hello, friends. How are you? This is Victoria Mattia, and you are listening to the Mom Care Coach. So I hope that you are having an awesome day. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope that this, particular episode is a blessing to you. So today we're going to talk about something really fun. Last week we talked all about meal planning, meal prepping, meal planning 101, grocery shopping, all the things. And this is the last installment of the kind of meal planning, meal prepping, weekly planning session when it comes to those kinds of things. And so today I wanted to talk about how we can take our plans and how it can support our cycle. So the title is 3 Tips for How to Plan Your Week According to Your Cycle. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for joining me today. If this is your first time, thank you for joining. I hope that this is a blessing to you. If this is an episode that you are always looking forward to every week, thank you for coming back. It means the world to me. I truly do appreciate it. And also, I do want to mention thank you for all of the men that love to listen to my sessions as well and to encourage and support their wives as autism mamas. I truly believe that that is so important, especially in marriage and in families. Now, that being said, this is more of a personal episode that is specific to the autism mama. So if you choose to allow this one just to be for your wife, no problem. No problem at all. Because today we're talking all about our cycle and from the lens of being an autism mama. Okay. So our one big idea is that you can support your cycle through your daily plans as an autism mom. Now, that is a mouthful, but the reason why is because, there's a lot of information out there, especially with cycling and perimenopause and all kinds of stuff. And they really cover everything from being in your 20s to your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. The difference is, and especially on this podcast, we look through the lens of everything as an autism parent, because that honestly is often quite different than our neurotypical counterparts when it comes to family life. And the reason why is because there are trajectories for neurotypical development for children and hitting milestones, what is typical and then what is outside of the typical realm according to the medical community. And so with that in mind, as autism parents, we're not always able to see what the trajectory is for our children. Sometimes they hit those milestones on time. And then sometimes it's outside of the realm of what doctors and the medical community considers to be on time. And that's perfectly fine. I feel like, our children will hit whatever milestone they're supposed to at the time they're supposed to do it. And that's kind of how I leave it. And my job as the parent is to just support them as much as I possibly can. So, with that in mind, we have to understand that because there are some different variabilities because of outside realms that are not within our power to do anything about, as an autism mother, meaning we have children on the autism spectrum, and many times we often are neurodiverse in some way ourselves, but not all the time. But because of the fact that we have kiddos that develop at different rates than maybe their neurotypical counterparts at the same age level, we are often in certain developmental areas for longer than the age range is. So if you have a kiddo that's still wearing diapers, which is not uncommon for many of our children, then we need to have an understanding that because of that, it can impact our ability for what we need to do when it comes to supporting ourselves and our self-care, which of course is so very important. Now, in the past, on different episodes, I have mentioned the idea and just to put it in better perspective of a fence post, okay? On a fence post, you have vertical posts and you have horizontal posts. And the reason why that's important is because when you have a lot of things that the fence is carrying, those are your horizontal posts. Okay, let's say you have IEP meetings, you have lots of therapy visits right now, you have sports activities, you have your own job, you have your own needs, you have your own beliefs and different things that you believe in. So those are the horizontal posts. So when there are lots of things on these horizontal posts, those are the things that you are carrying, the things that you are doing on a daily basis. What are the things that you are responsible for? Then you need to make sure that your self-care posts, those are the vertical posts in this analogy, are closer together. You need more of those and they need to be closer together. So you need to be making sure you're focusing on your four intentional needs, making sure you're drinking enough water, making sure that you have time to yourself. All of these things are your vertical posts and that they are going to support you as you have lots of things that you are taking care of and a lot of responsibilities. Now that is all very important, but you also can use your cycle as a support as well. So let's talk about these 3 tips. So tip number 1, we're going to talk about what are some easy buttons. When it comes to supporting yourself through your cycle, we want to make sure that there are easy buttons, things that we can do, that we can put in our schedule that can support us. One of the things has to do with nutrition. Nutrition for me, I think is just so important, but making sure you're getting the right nutrition in the right amounts is what makes everything work really, really well. So on my website, there is a bundle that I share with people called the Essential Meal Bundle. It gives you 25 grams of protein per serving. It gives you also prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes. And that is so important. It also has hyaluronic acid in it, which helps support your skin, your body, your brain, your joints. All of that is phenomenal. And it also gives you a lot of B vitamins. And so that combination can be really, really helpful when you're wanting to support your body through your cycle, as well as just on a daily basis. It's because it's so important to make sure you're getting the nutrition that you need in the amounts that you need. Okay, the second thing you want to make sure is that you want to make sure when you're looking at planning things, look at your calendar. As you're looking at the week that you are going to be cycling, meaning that is the time where you will be, bleeding, then you need to make sure that that is the time that you have things relaxed as possible. Areas when it comes to like different appointments, if you can move those appointments around, that's really a great time to do that. If you cannot, then making sure that you're not scheduling more on your calendar than necessary. So if we're able to move around appointments, of course, that's going to be awesome. If we cannot, then we can kind of work within what the confines of that week can be. So number 1, we're making sure that we're putting easy buttons in our life, especially when it comes to nutrition. Number 2, we're not adding on more appointments for that week that are appointments that are negotiable, different things that we're responsible for. We're not adding on to that week. If it's possible, if we could move that to a week previous week or a week later on, then that can be really, really helpful. And then also, if you are a person that is no longer having typical cycles, then you can find out when your period would actually start by allowing yourself to use the new moon. The new moon, allowing that to be the actual week that you would typically start your period, and then moving on from there. And that helps you have an idea of where you are actually. Number two, so like I said, so looking at if there's anything that can be rescheduled, appointments as you can change them, do. If you can't change them, of course you do what you can do, but of course not adding anything. And then we already talked about using the new moon to help you know where your cycle is if that's necessary for you. So those are the first two big points. And then number three, we want to eat according to our cycle. And that can help with our energy, that can help with our emotions, that can help to limit overeating or unhealthy eating patterns. So that's really important. And understanding that a lot of times, if you notice that you are like craving salty things or sugary things, just keeping in mind as the days are leading up to your period, your body naturally needs more protein. And a lot of times it'll look like you're craving something sweet. Okay. So you can Google to see more about that. You can reach out to your nutritionist to see that. However, I would suggest to get started with noticing things, writing down different things in your calendar to show you like, oh, wow, a few days before my period is about to start, I crave this, or a few days before my period starts, I notice I want this more, or I will do certain things. And then number four, we're going to start tracking our feelings. And I find that this is really, really cool because when you start tracking your feelings, you'll start to notice some different cycles among your cycles. You'll start to notice, like, wow, I become more emotional, or things that didn't used to bother me as much start to bother me days before my actual period starts. And I will start to look at that, and it can affect me in a variety of different ways. So, as you can see, my dog, or hear my dog in the background, he has his own opinions about things. But so these particular steps are really, really amazing. And that's one of the things that is really cool when you have your paper planner. You can write these things in, you can track these things really easily. And so as you are tracking, sometimes it takes it, a lot of changes happen in 90-day cycles. So if you were to do this, focus on these things as you're making your weekly planner, being mindful of when your period starts, being mindful of how you feel and how you can move different appointments or not schedule important appointments or stressful things on that week, you will find that it can be less stressful. And it can be really helpful, especially as you move forward with your weekly planning sessions and as you look forward to meal planning and meal prepping, because you can look at it and see, okay, maybe I'm going to have more options for protein. I'll make it specific in that week or even several days before that time starts, so that as I am craving different things, I can satisfy those cravings with the protein that my body needs. And then also, what's really interesting when it comes to PMS and all of that, during that phase, it is called our luteal phase. And because our body is so busy, it needs, you'll have more metabolic needs that arise. And when I was Googling this, it even said 150 to 300 calories more daily you will start to need, and you're wanting to make sure that those calories has to do with protein. Now, with that being said, everybody is different, okay? Everybody is different. And we are all in different phases and different seasons of life. If you're in perimenopause, that doesn't mean that you need to eat an extra 300 calories. It just allows your body to understand, because there are different hormonal shifts and serotonin levels, then we need to be aware of certain things. And I'll just actually read to you what I was looking at. It says during the premenstrual, which is our luteal phase, our body's metabolic needs rise by about 150 to 300 calories daily. Hormonal shifts lower serotonin levels, okay, and reduce insulin sensitivity. That means that if we're not as insulin sensitive, then our body can react a little differently to sugary foods. And so because of that, it triggers cravings. And so the protein intake is critical during this time to help stabilize blood sugar and slow digestion and satisfy our psychological cravings before they turn into binges. So I wanted just to read that little bit to you to help you understand. And as I said, everybody is different and we're all in different seasons, but it's very helpful to understand that when we are going through the process and putting all this time and energy and work into understanding our really weekly sessions when it comes to planning, we want to do as much as we can to make it as beneficial as possible. And because of that, we wanted to look this week that has to do our cycle. So I hope that this was helpful for you, and I look forward to speaking with you next time. Thank you so much. And please don't forget to don't forget to download these episodes wherever you're getting them from, if you're listening to iTunes or Spotify or whatever. Please don't forget that. And if you are interested in the Essential Meal Bundle and finding more easy buttons, please don't forget to email me and I can send over that information for you. You can find my email in the description box. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.